This action is a demonstration of the United States commitment in championing and supporting international organizations with the aim to build a better world for all.
President Buhari engages U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, asks for relocation of Africa Command headquarters from Germany to Africa.
It is my own responsibility to come and say the truth to Mr. President. Let him know what is going on in the entire Northeast region.
President Buhari receives briefing from Governor of Borno State over security situation in the state. Vice President Yemi Osibajo joins other heads of governments to facilitate with Sierra Leone at 60th independence anniversary. And JAMB directs telecommunication companies to refund UTME and direct entry candidates deductions made without rendering services. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News, reaching you live from our studios in Abuja. I'm Joseph Johnson. Reading with me tonight is Adiola Komiakere in Lagos. Thank you for your company. Let's start with security matters. Of course, President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong representation to the United States to consider relocating its Africa Command headquarters from Germany to Africa, and indeed closer to the theater of operation in the battle against insecurity. Speaking at a virtual audience with the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the president said this is desirable in view of the growing security challenges in West and Central Africa, Gulf of Guinea, Lake Chad region and the Sahel. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the report.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, our relations have been strong for 60 years, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to work with you and your team on building on that foundation and charting a shared vision to guide our strategic partnership for the coming years.
Initiated by the United States, the virtual engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the U.S. Secretary of State is aimed at promoting existing bilateral ties between the two countries.
I also hope to discuss how we can build our economies back even better and stronger after the pandemic, growing them and making them more equitable. Investing in protecting the most vulnerable communities in our countries, I think, contributes to our goal of building a lasting security for Americans and for Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the security challenges in Nigeria, compounded by the negative pressures in the Sahel, Central and West Africa, as well as the Lake Chad region, remain of great concern to his administration.
The support of important and strategic partners like the United States cannot be overstated, as the consequences of insecurity will affect all nations, hence the imperative for cooperation and collaboration of all nations to overcome these challenges.
Nigeria and her security forces, he explained, are resolutely committed to containing the security concerns as well as addressing their root causes, saying, however, that enhanced collaboration in all forms with friends and strategic partners is needed towards achieving greater security for all. He used the opportunity to congratulate the United States for rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Agreement on climate change.
This action is a demonstration of the United States commitment in championing and supporting international organizations with the aim to build a better world for all. In this regard, Nigeria remains resolute in her commitment to supporting global efforts as enshrined on the Paris Agreement on climate change, which seeks to limit global warming and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
President Buhari used the forum to express appreciation to President Joe Biden for his welcoming and far-reaching decision to repeal the immigration restriction known as the Muslim ban on travel and visas for citizens predominantly from Muslim nations and African countries. Nigeria, he said, attaches great importance to the relations with the United States. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the former governor of Lagos State and chieftain of the governing APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has formally reacted to insinuations in some quarters that there is an unhealthy relationship between him and President Muhammadu Buhari, describing it as baseless, unfounded, and a figment of their imagination. Chief Tinubu gave the clarification while speaking to NTA News after an audience with the president. Here again is State House correspondent Adam Sambo with the report.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu since January last year. The former Lagos State Governor, who was accompanied to the State House by Chief Bisi Akande, met the president behind closed doors where critical national issues were discussed. Speaking to NTA News, Chief Tinubu dismissed claims that there is an unhealthy relationship between him and the president.
Nothing like unhealthy. Who is our doctor? Is it social media that is mentioning the relationship? I don't have to disturb him openly on camera. We have so many ways to look at issues. We have nothing like that.
So the relationship with the president is very cordial.
Very, very, very close and cordial, frank and honest.
On the prevailing challenges of security in the country, Chief Tinubu made a case for Nigerians to bury their differences and support the president in his genuine efforts at finding lasting solutions.
There's no president who will want his country in chaos. Have you seen one? There's no one that we want a citizen exposed to banditry and danger. There's no president or leader that will want his nation fractured in tribalism, religious differences, and others. It calls for cooperation, understanding, coming together to move for unity and be able to bring a better Nigerian to the people.
Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu used the opportunity to express absolute confidence in the ability of the governing APC to retain power in 2023.
The chances is as bright as a midnight star. We continue to work for a better Nigeria.
He described as exemplary the clearly stated position of the president that constitutional term limits be respected by political office holders. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And Governor Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State has formally briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent violent attacks in parts of the state by insurgents, describing the situation as disturbing. State House correspondent Adamu Samba reports that the governor, who was in the State House Monday evening, gave detailed account of the incidents, coming after some moments of respite in the security situation. Governor Zulum, who is also the chairman of the Northeast Governors Forum, had told President Buhari that following the renewed attacks, the traumatized residents of the affected areas fled their communities and called for urgent intervention by the federal government.
In Borno particularly, brigade headquarters were attacked. Many soldiers, men and officers of the Nigerian army were killed. Let me use this opportunity to extend my condolences to the families of the deceased. May God in His infinite wisdom forgive them. And I think it is my own responsibility to come and say the truth to Mr. President. Let him know what is going on in the entire Northeast sub-region. I think there is a need for us to get support for us to succeed in this war against insurgents. It's very pathetic. A few days ago, Damasak was attacked. Hundreds of people started fleeing Damasak. And now, Gadam is almost deserted. Many people have left Gadam.
So to what will you attribute this deteriorating security situation in that state?
I think the military are yet to receive some of the equipment that they have ordered for.
The governor therefore made a case for the federal government to work towards hastening the delivery of the equipment ordered for the Nigerian armed forces to enable them confront head-on the criminal elements for the desired peace and stability to be restored in the area. In the meantime, Senate has called on Chief of Army Staff and the Inspector General of Police to establish permanent security bases in Niger East Senatorial District and other parts of the country plagued by activities of bandits and Boko Haram. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the Senate also resolved that its leadership is to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari on the security situation in the country.
The state of Nigeria's security situation resonated on the floor of the Senate for the umpteenth time. In the last 4 months, motions on security challenge in all the geopolitical zones have flooded the legislative chamber, 4 on Niger State alone. This time, the motion by the senator representing Niger East, Sani Musa, shut down all items scheduled for consideration on the order paper. It called for immediate deployment of troops and relief materials from the federal government to the affected areas.
Towns, villages and communities in Shiroro, Rafi and Munya local government areas of Niger State and has subjected the affected areas under serious survival threats.
In Niger North, Mariga local government is also in constant attack. We need to start now, because nobody can ever escape it. We are where we must now bring out all our arsenals.
Some senators recommended massive recruitment into security agencies and engagement of foreign assistance in arresting the situation.
Colombia, Israel, they've gone through this road and they overcome them. So we should not be ashamed to seek support and assistance of such countries to help us.
It costs us nothing to get foreign support.
We need to strengthen the manpower requirement of our security agencies.
To have audience with the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Security Advisor, and the Minister of Defense on the regional implications of the developments in Sham.
We need to have supplementary budget to fund not only the recruitment of additional personnel, but also procurement of weapons and platforms.
In the meantime, Senate has confirmed the nomination of Justice Salisu Garba Abdullahi for appointment as Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It sworn in Frank Ibezim of the All Progressives Congress as the senator representing Imo North Senatorial District of Imo State. He replaces late Senator Benjamin Owajimogu, who died in 2019. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Also, the House of Representatives has adopted an 11-point resolution in which it urged President Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the security sector to fast-track the restoration of peace across the country. National Assembly correspondent Lamiale reports that House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila read out the resolutions after a closed-door session.
It was a 4-hour wait for journalists as the Speaker kick-started the business of the day with an executive session. Parts of the resolutions adopted by House members include condemning the attacks on security personnel and formations in parts of the country and sympathize with victims. It also sympathized with families and communities that have suffered banditry, terrorism and criminal attacks recently in several states of the country and calls on government to
provide emergency relief to all communities that have been adversely affected by the recent attacks across the country.
The House noted that the number of personnel in the police and military falls short of what is required to effectively secure the country and therefore called for immediate additional recruitment into the armed forces. The House is also to extend an invitation to the service chiefs, the National Security Advisor, heads of paramilitary agencies and NITCOMSAT to brief the House on the security situation in the country. While urging the judiciary to accelerate the prosecution of suspected terrorists, bandits and other criminals awaiting trial, the House stressed the need for financial autonomy to local government areas to enable them to serve the populace.
The House reiterates its commitment to the security and corporate existence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and will therefore accelerate its engagement with stakeholders at a special security summit that is being organized by the House of Representatives.
The lawmakers pointed the need to protect national assets and resolved to commence an audit of all military assets and arms with the nation's armed forces. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still talking security, a 21-member committee set up to review the management and restructuring of the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces of Nigeria has submitted its report to the Minister of Defense in an official ceremony held at the National Defense College. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
Literally holding the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces of Nigeria in their hands, the chairman of the committee tasked with facilitating a review of operations of the Nigerian military and Ministry of Defense hands over the report after weeks of painstaking research and deliberations.
They observe systemic inadequacies due to much vulnerability within the defense sector in Nigeria, like several other sectors, clearly indicate the need for reforms to be carried out to reverse the trend.
And I'm equally delighted on the proposal that the federal government should convoke a comprehensive security sector reform to address the deficiency inherent in the Nigerian police and other paramilitary agencies.
Do we define security from the point of view of the peace of mind that it gives to the ordinary citizens who don't even know the rigor, those who provide the security put into it, that is from the service point of view, or from the operational point of view?
The recommendations will be such that will bring substantial impact on the armed forces.
While committee members are being awarded for their hard work in writing the more than 250-page report with more than 70 recommendations expected to reform the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Nigeria, which will in turn boost national security, the ultimate reward, the Minister of Defense says, would be to overcome security challenges once and for all. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Thank you, Najatu. Still to come, Nigeria and British government to increase mutual economic benefits. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching NTA Network News with me, Joseph Johnson. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, has declared open a 3-day retreat for Nigerian Air Force operational commanders to deliberate on the effectiveness of air power in joint operations, among other security matters. 4 pilots also received their wings during the retreat. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani again reports.
Aimed at drawing on a collective body of knowledge from both serving and retired personnel, this combined specialty conference or Nigerian Air Force retreat is also aimed at finding new ways of deploying and maintaining air assets. The winging of 4 pilots during the retreat also coincides with one of the 3 key drivers of the Nigerian Air Force, which is human capacity development, human capacity building, which the Nigerian Air Force says will go a long way in sustaining and enhancing national security.
Accordingly, this event is expected to feature robust, no-hold-bar conversations, which I expect will go a long way in repositioning the Nigerian Air Force for more effective service delivery, especially in areas of operations, logistics, as well as aircraft and armament engineering.
The 3-day retreat is aimed at reinventing air operations, including the management of air assets, as well as the training of those who service and fly the air platforms. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osibajo has represented Nigeria at the Sierra Leone's 60th Independence Day celebration. The Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the event, was received by Vice President Julde Jallo on arrival to the country before proceeding to the celebration arena to join President Julius Maada. Several other heads of state and governments from Africa and beyond also attended the ceremony. In Freetown, both countries have cordial relations right from colonial times, and the relationship has continued and evidenced in the socio-economic, technical and security cooperation over the years. Vice President Osibajo was accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister of State, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, among other top government officials. Nigeria and the British government are re-strategizing for a much better partnership on improved mutual benefits for the economy and social development of the two countries. Usman Aliyu now reports.
This diplomatic engagement between Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama and the British Government Minister for Africa James Dadridge tells more of the post-Brexit commitment by the United Kingdom and present new hope for Nigeria and Africa, especially at this time nations are surviving with the effects of the global pandemic. The two ministers share ideas on various key sectors that guarantee future economic prosperity.
I also bring with me a senior ex-minister from the UK government, who the Prime Minister has appointed both as trade envoy to Nigeria, so working very much more closely with commercial partners and some of your colleagues in ministries, but also fortuitously an envoy for girls' education, where we're promising 12 years of quality girls' education.
I know that the area of humanitarian issues is one that is very much part of your portfolio, and of course it's one that is a major priority for us. Thank you very much once again for the support of the United Kingdom, the concern you're showing with the various challenges, of course, that we face in the northeast of the country and other parts of the country. We appreciate that, enormously.
With the rollout of COVID-19 vaccination campaign, development economists projects United Kingdom's economy becoming vibrant and stable. That means Nigeria takes her step on the success of COVID-19 vaccination and economic recovery after her former colonial master. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osibajo says the federal government is now reorganizing the entire security architecture in the country to overcome the current security challenges confronting the nation. The Vice President stated this when he received the traditional ruler of Yakanaje Uke Kingdom in Karo local government area of Nasarawa State, Ahmed Abdullahi Hassan. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osibajo, while welcoming the traditional ruler and his entourage, agreed that the nation is facing security challenges and explained that government is reorganizing the security architecture for proper policing to overcome the challenge. The Vice President assured that the present challenges will prepare Nigeria for a greater and prosperous future, urging the traditional institution to support the re-engineering process. Vice President Osibajo expressed satisfaction concerning what the monarch is doing in his kingdom to ensure peaceful coexistence, observed that without going through challenges, it would be difficult for people to appreciate the importance of fairness and justice, the importance of giving people a voice, calling on traditional rulers to leverage the influence they have over communities to effect positive change for the good of the entire society. On his part, Dr. Ahmed Abdullahi Hassan, monarch of Yakanaje Uke Kingdom, said his people are emulating the federal government's efforts at bringing ethnic groups in Nigeria together as one. The paramount ruler appealed to the federal government to integrate the traditional institution in the implementation of some of its intervention schemes for small businesses and the less privileged. He said traditional rulers are closer to the people and understand the issues and needs in the localities, hence the need to be involved in the implementation of the schemes. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
A journey to enshrine an unprecedented reform in the Nigerian broadcasting industry, known as digital switchover, is kick-starting a new rollout with a view to covering the entire country. This is an update by the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed to the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Discussions here are the instance of the Ministerial Task Force on the digital switchover aimed at accelerating the pace of the project's rollout across the country.
The DSO is about creating jobs for our teeming population, especially the very creative youth population.
The Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed told the senators that the pilot rollout of the project was successfully done in Plateau State, the Federal Capital Territory, Kaduna, Enugu and Osun states, while the second phase will kickstart on this Thursday, April 29th, with Lagos State, followed by Kano and Rivers states.
I've directed GoTV and Star Times to stop self-carriage by the end of June 2021 and migrate to either integrated television service or Pinnacle Communication, which are the approved signal distributors in the country.
The need for more awareness to Nigerians on the project and status of radio transmission were among the issues raised by the senators.
If you can include radio in your program or your activities, I think we'll be glad.
The opportunity for local content to thrive, indigenous producers to be more engaged, and local advertising market to grow have prompted the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed to appeal for speedy passage of the bill seeking to amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Nigeria, like most countries of the world, has overstretched medical equipment and services as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, a global emergency health crisis that has compelled the National Lottery Fund Commission to increase interventions across health facilities for effective and quality service delivery. Abubakar Usman Akwanga has more.
This is not the first intervention by the National Lottery Trust Fund to strengthen health care delivery in the country since the outbreak of COVID-19. But this is believed to be a major stride as 12 health facilities across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country are earmarked to benefit from this medical equipment worth millions of naira.
May I reaffirm our unwavering commitment to equipping our healthcare centers across the nation to support the delivery of high standards of care for our people.
On the strength of this effort, that I encourage the fund to continue on this laudable path, that we should make overseas medical tourism a thing of the past.
Stakeholders are enthused that health facilities are being equipped to cope with emerging health challenges.
Cherish them like they are your own. Manage them like they are your own, and put them into use for the benefit of your community.
It is my hope and desire that these medical supplies will serve the patients and people of Nigeria effectively.
The National Lottery Trust Fund is also reaching out to rural communities in Nasarawa State to accommodate the increasing number of health seekers at the grassroots.
Over 30 healthcare projects have so far been completed and due for commissioning soon.
The Lottery Fund is again restating commitment to breaching deficit in health care delivery through proceeds realized. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, says the federal government has introduced sweeping reforms as it concerns passport application and issuance. The minister stated this when he received the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, in Abuja. He stressed that a regime of not more than 72 hours express passport processing is underway outside Nigerian missions. On managed migration, the Interior Minister promised to work with strategic agencies to see that migration is profitable to the migrant and to the country of stay, as well as the homeland.
The passport is the
strongest instrument of sovereignty, nationality, and citizenship. Strongest instrument. At international level.
For those in the diaspora, there are some who have lost their jobs because they could not renew their passports. There are some who could not, go on their journeys because they could not renew their passports. So there are many cases like that, but we keep telling them that government is doing so. I don't think any administration has done as much as this administration.
NIDCOM commended the minister's effort in making the passport application and issuance seamless. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has assured all would-be candidates for the 2021 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and Direct Entry that deductions made by telecommunication companies without rendering services during the process of registration as a result of network failure will be refunded. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede stated this during a virtual meeting with service providers in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports that the board also noted that there will be no refund for errors that were caused by candidates.
An outpour of complaints from parents over what they called exploitation of would-be UTME and direct entry candidates by some telecommunication companies since the commencement of the 2021 registration necessitated this briefing by JAMB.
Ensure that when a service is not fully rendered, no service, and if there had been any charge that had been made, this should be refunded to the candidates.
On errors and mistakes occasioned by use of punctuations, JAMB says it is putting in place measures to accommodate them.
One of the resolutions we adopted at the meeting is that the service provider should now go back between now and Friday, make the system accept such errors. That is, anytime from Friday, even if they make the error, it will go.
The board also disclosed that it will collaborate with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and the Nigerian Communications Commission to ensure the deductions are refunded. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Adiola in our Lagos studio has the next set of reports. Hello, Adiola.
Hello, Joseph. For Nigerians to enjoy quality and durable infrastructure, concerned agencies must ensure projects are adequately supervised to meet all terms specified in their contracts. Chairman House Committee on Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA, Ganiyo Abiodun, made the remark during inspection of road projects in Lagos. Samuel Jensen reports.
Being part of the oversight functions of the national lawmakers, the tour gave the team the opportunity to have first-hand information on the quality of work on the ongoing road projects in Lagos-Ogun axis. From the 7-kilometer Aton Agbara Road in Ogun State to the Mushin-Idioro Kirikiri Road, as well as the Onipan Palm Grove Service Lane projects in Lagos, the lawmakers expressed satisfaction with the quality of work delivered by FEMA.
I want to commend FEMA for job well done there. Contractors are not on site. Then who is supervising? And that's why we notice in some of the projects, especially handled by contract and COVID, that's why the quality of some of the jobs are substandard.
Zonal Director of FEMA in the Southwest said the visit of the lawmakers is a pointer to the seriousness of the federal government to deliver durable roads to ease transportation of goods and services.
From our own side, we are making sure that we are ensuring that the contractor does what he should do.
In all, 13 projects, including the 630-meter Eric Moore Igamu Road, were inspected. In Lagos, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
7 suspects nabbed by the operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Murtala Muhammad International Airport Command are undergoing interrogation for being in possession of hard substances weighing 25.3 kilograms. Commander Amadu Garba identified the seizure as being the highest in one shipment in the past 15 years. Abolade Salami reports.
With a marching order to sanitize the country of drug trafficking and abuse, with the hope of stemming the tide of crime, officers and men of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have stepped up surveillance and intelligence gathering, which have resulted in arrests of most suspects. The airport command of the agency in the month of April took into custody a number of suspects for ingestion of hard substances and clearing agents built to receive cargoes conveying hard drugs. While one of the suspects caught for ingestion excreted 92 pallets of urine weighing 1.300 kilograms, another placed under observation also excreted 113 wraps of cocaine weighing 1.570 kilograms.
A total of 24.05 kilograms of heroin and 1.25 kilograms of methamphetamine was recovered, bringing the gross weight of the illicit substance to 25.3 kilograms. This is the highest seizure of heroin in one shipment in the past 15 years.
The unwavering commitment of officers at the Sako import shed led to the seizure of heroin concealed in a conflict carton, while another cargo tested positive for methamphetamine.
About trafficking drugs to Europe, are based in Europe.
I didn't know if something like that is there before. I was just caught.
The command will deploy more strategies to ensure that those who are bent on illicit drug importation and peddling face the wrath of the law. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
We are done with our contribution from here, but we'll pause again.
NTA Network News continues here in Abuja, and we're heading straight to business, and my colleague Benny Adams has got all you need to know. Benny?
Thank you, Joseph, and welcome to the business side of the news. Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has pledged to support the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NTA, in tracking oil and gas revenue that accrue to government to ensure appropriate remittances. The Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, made the pledge when he visited NTA.
We will put hands together to make sure that whatever is due to government by way of revenue, royalties, fines and so on, do come to government. We are supportive 100% of what NIT is doing, and we will assist them to achieve their objectives.
We want to work with all the agencies that either take custody of government funds, warehouse or manage them, because 90%, 80%, thereabout, majority of these funds come from one way or the other from the extractive industry.
The Accountant General also promised to resuscitate the inactive Inter-Ministerial Tax Team with a view to resolve issues that may arise between agencies in the oil and gas sector. Moving on, the OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo, speaking at the 29th meeting of the Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee in Vienna, says in spite of increased COVID-19 case numbers in India, Brazil, Tokyo, and some key European cities, amid rising tensions, higher debt levels, and growing inflationary pressures, the global economy is shifting into higher gear, with oil demand now expected to grow by 6 million barrels per day this year, which is slightly higher than the last forecast. GDP growth is now projected at 5.4% as against a decline of 3.5% in 2020. Barkindo believes that the global economy will continue to benefit from massive stimulus measures in the U.S., the prospects for robust growth in some of the Asian economies, and the global response to COVID-19 vaccinations. And on the capital markets, investors lose 6.82 billion naira as NSE All Share Index dips by 0.03% amid positive market breadth. Market closed at 39,305.48 basis points as against 0.04% appreciation recorded previously. Market breadth closed positive as Prestige led 23 gainers as against 17 losers, topped by H markings at the end of session. Market turnover closed negative as volume moved down by 23.40% as against 18.30% recorded in previous session. Access, Transcorp and Fidelity Bank were the most active to boost market turnover, while Guarantee and Access topped market value list. Well, that's business news. Joseph, is over to you.
Thank you, Benny. Now, still talking business, of course, banks and financial institutions have been called upon to embrace the collateralization of IP assets to support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, in the creative sector in order to boost their contribution to the country's gross domestic product. A statement by the Director General, Dr. Vincent Oyevosu, says the Director General of Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC, Mr. John Assain, made this appeal in a statement on World Intellectual Property Day 2021 on April 26. He noted that, like other IP assets, copyright has value, which should be exploited for sustainable national development. He pointed out that the theme for this year, IP and SMEs, taking your ideas to market, underscored the place of SMEs in the society and how the IP system can serve as a vehicle for moving their raw ideas to the markets. The Director General underscored the commitment of the Commission to assisting SMEs with the needed administrative and legislative frameworks to facilitate their use of the copyright system in converting ideas to bankable assets and to engender investor confidence in the sector, while charging industry practitioners to complement the efforts of the Commission by paying more attention to the business side of their creative endeavors. Following the attacks on Okigwe South Area Command Headquarters and Douglas area of Owerri, the state capital, is witnessing difficulty in vehicular movement arising from increased security measures. Marian Vincent Oko, who visited some of the major roads, brings us details.
Okigwe South Area Command Headquarters by unidentified gunmen is one out of the several attacks on security outfits in Imo State. The incident left 5 officers dead, while the whereabouts of one is yet to be ascertained. Just as the people were yet to come to terms with that incident, the Douglas area in Owerri was hit by attackers, which created fear among residents of the densely populated area. A visit to the area at about 8 o'clock this morning, however, shows that normalcy has returned as business activities have picked up. The impact of the security situation in Imo State is taking its toll on the state capital, as major roads are now witnessing gridlock, arising mostly from some of the security measures put in place.
It's very bad, it's very fearful. The people of Owerri don't know what to do now.
The people are eagerly hoping that the situation will be brought under control so that normalcy can be restored. In Owerri, Marian Vincent Oko, NTA News.
Let's take another break now. When we return, Gift George in our Lagos network.
Strengthening state fiscal transparency, accountability, and ensuring its sustainability for optimum results. That is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. It promises to be incisive and educative. Join us.